Hey there. Do you want to improve your sales calls to hear more yeses? Would you like to have more income and freedom? Today, you're going to be learning the framework for a sales conversation that can help you begin to charge more money for your services or programs. This will be a high level overview, so you won't feel overwhelmed, but packed with really valuable and actionable information. Now, depending on the stage of business you're in, you may be enrolling prospects into lower priced individual sessions or packages where you're trading dollars for hours. Or you're enrolling prospects into highly structured programs that are above 2,000 or more, and you're ready to raise the investment level based on the results your clients are receiving. Maybe you've been at this for a while, but you haven't advanced to the point where you've created structured programs, even though you've got tons of experience. I worked with one client who was an expert, and she had been at it for over 2 decades, but she was still working with her clients in a single session at a time, sprinkled in with low price packages when she could sell them, even though she was an expert. And she knew that when she worked longer with a client using her system, they got much better results. But she felt stuck because she was nervous about raising her prices. She felt held back because she didn't want to lose clients, piss them off, lose money, or mess up her business and not be able to get it back to where it was. So if you're enrolling people in individual sessions or low price packages, this framework will also work very well for you. And it will help you develop your sales skill set so that you can raise your prices as your comfort level increases. If you're currently selling higher price programs, anything from $2,000 to $20,000, and you want to raise your prices, then your skills need to improve. The sales framework will help with this too. So when you have this goal in mind, this is where listening intently and asking quality and thoughtful questions become your best friend. And you'll need to develop the ability to move someone through the emotions and beliefs that are limiting their success towards what they want. Or as some people may say, you handle their objections. And these emotions and beliefs can present themselves no matter how little or how much you're charging. So get the idea out of your head that charging more is harder. That may be true in some cases, but not always. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Aminette Burgueño, and I've had the privilege of supporting over 100,000 people with their personal, professional, and spiritual development. And I've used my voice to transform lives as a business mentor, master hypnotist, and voiceover artist. I help established entrepreneurs who are sensitive, soulful, and led by their hearts to be a force for good in the world. Recreate your business model and offers to support your unique needs for more time, energy, impact, and money. And one of the ways that you can make more money is by improving your sales call conversion rate. Each time we're together, I'll bring you a helpful resource that will help you fulfill your calling. So this framework will help you no matter where you are in your business. So let's dive right in. So the first step is to build rapport. You've gotten them on a call, and initially you're going to build some superficial rapport. Hi, how are you? You've got kids, I've got kids too. You follow? You live here, I live there too. The weather's terrible, isn't it? That's pretty superficial rapport, but you need that initially because this person hasn't met you yet. Or if they have, they still don't trust you. But genuine rapport is going to happen throughout your call, and it'll help that person feel understood by you, whether you have something in common with them or not. So how do you do this? You want to listen to what they are saying throughout your conversation and reflect back to them what you've heard. And you aren't going to do this in a weird, artificial mirroring way, but as a person who cares about what they've just said. This is going to make that person feel understood by you. And they're going to feel like you know them, you get them, and that's going to build that know, like, and trust factor. Be a real person that cares about your prospect. Reflect back to them what they said to you, and you'll build genuine rapport. I can't emphasize this enough. The next step is to set the call up and step into leadership. And by leadership, I don't mean that you're above that person in any way. What I mean is that you're an ally that walks alongside them. So initially, you're going to have that superficial rapport. And then you're going to say, I'm really glad that you booked in the call today. If they booked it in through the scheduler. And if they called you and you picked up the phone, you're going to ask them if they have time to talk right now. Otherwise, they'll have booked in the call and you'll have set the stage for the call in your scheduler and the automated response that goes out once they booked. So they'll know what they're in for, basically. So you'll step into leadership and say something along these lines. Over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be asking you some questions. Is that all right with you? And they always say yes. And if they called you, you'll just segue into asking them that question. And you'll say, I'm going to be asking you questions about where you are right now, what's not working, and what you actually want. And then you'll say, and if I feel like I can help you and we're a good fit to work together, I'll share with you at that time how I can help you. Is that okay with you? And they'll agree. And then you can say, and should we get off topic, is it all right if I let you know? And they'll say, yeah, no problem. And that's good because sometimes people have waited their entire life to address the issue they booked in the call for. And 20 years of their life comes out. And that's okay. That's part of the process. But you have to be time conscious. So you have to rein them in periodically to keep them on point. All right. So the next step is that you want to establish that they're the financial decision maker. There's no point talking to somebody if they're not the financial decision maker. Typically, this happens with husbands, wives, or partners. So if they need to speak to their spouse or partner about it, that's fine. That's not a problem. Except that the spouse needs to ideally be on the call with you both. So what I would do at this specific point is I would reschedule the call to where you can get all the decision makers on the phone, because you may spend a half an hour to 45 minutes with this person and the conversation stops because they genuinely need to speak with their partner. And if that happens without you, that's problematic because the prospect won't be sharing all of the things you just shared about your services or program. So it will likely fall on deaf ears because the value hasn't been built to the prospect's partner. So make sure that you have the decision makers on the call and reschedule that call if needed. And this applies to business partners as well. Now, if you're using an online scheduler, you can address this there and have them agree to have all decision makers on the call with them. Moving along, the next step is to find out where are they right now. So basically, what's not working. Now, you may be helping with personal development or with business development. Nevertheless, you're going to find out what prompted them to book in that call or to call in. And this is the part where you really want to dig, because initially, they'll typically give you a superficial answer. That's just our conscious mind trying to protect us, because there can be a reservoir of emotion around specific topics that people are wanting help with. And a superficial answer is typically forthcoming. So ask a lot of probing questions here and take some really good notes. The next step is to find out what they want instead of that, meaning what they just told you, the problem. And again, typically you're going to get a superficial answer. So I want you to keep digging and digging and digging. And then when you find out what they genuinely want, find out why they want it and why now. The next step is to determine what they've done in the past to solve their problem and what it's costing them. This is important, and it doesn't have to be tied to finances. It may be costing them in their relationships. It may be costing them with their health. It may be costing them money with their business or their personal life or whatever that might be. And the goal here is to help them see what it's costing them. They need to internalize this for themselves. And the whole time that you're doing this, you want to take a lot of really good notes. When I'm in a strategy session, I've got 2 papers, front and back, and I'm writing everything that they're talking about. Now, again, this doesn't have to be this involved. If you're just enrolling people in individual sessions, maybe they're between $100 and $500, that's really much easier. When you're enrolling people into premium price programs, anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000 on up, this becomes much more important. And again, this can become much more involved and nuanced. The next step is to identify if they're ready to be helped now. This is an important question for a couple of different reasons. One, you really want to be in service to your potential client. So if they're not really ready to be helped now, that's okay. You can keep in touch with them by putting them in your follow-up system. You can be direct with your prospect and ask them if they want to solve this today. Are you ready for this now? And they'll sometimes tell you no, I'm not quite ready yet, and that's okay. But you need to ask more probing questions when that happens to find out if there's another issue that may be holding them back from making that decision to reach their goals. This can happen with personal development, especially when you help people with trauma, healing their past. That's because the prospect may not quite be ready to face the past. And it may happen with business depending on what you offer, because it may genuinely be a timing issue. So if they say, I'm not quite ready yet, that's okay. You can ask them when they feel like they'd be ready, and when they give you their answer, you can ask if you can contact them at that time. Just be sure to follow up. So far, I've given you a high-level overview, but this can go much deeper and be much more nuanced. This is important for you because all this information, when mastered and put into practice, is worth a lot of money to you. Moving on to the next step. You're then going to restate what they've said and remind them about their presenting problem. So you're going to literally read all those notes that you took back to them. So at this point, you'll let your prospect know that you've been taking notes as they've been talking and ask them if you can read them back to them to make sure that you're on the same page. And so you'll literally say it all back to them as you wrote it. And this is important because for the first time, they may really understand their problem and a new motivation happens internally to solve it. So this is what creates genuine rapport. Remember how I was talking to you at the beginning about genuine rapport? This is how you create genuine rapport because at this point, they feel like you understand them. This is so important. So restate what they've said and remind them about their presenting problem. They need to be aware that they have a problem. So in your checklist, and there will be a checklist here for you as well, make sure that they know they have a problem. Because if they don't know they have a problem, after you've gone through all of this, that means you have more work to do. The next step is to establish your expertise and then give social proof. You can say, I work with people with this issue all the time. As a matter of fact, I've been through this personally, if you have. And you can say, and I was just working with so-and-so. Don't give their real name due to confidentiality. And you can give a general overview of where they were and where they are right now, and the success and the benefits that they received that are relevant to what your prospect says they want. That's a key point there. This will help show that it's possible for them. Keep in mind that they need to see you as the solution to their problem. So you're going to ask them, so why did you reach out to me specifically? You need to help them see why you can help them. Some people just say, oh, I found you online. Okay, great. There's lots of other coaches online, so why me specifically? And sometimes people will say, oh, I got referred to you by so-and-so. So asking this question opens up the conversation around why you, and it helps them see why you're the solution, because they do need to see you as the solution. The next step is to offer the solution by way of your services or program and get their buy-in to your process. But more importantly, the benefits or results they'll get that are relevant to them and what they just told you. And before you tell them about your offer, you'll get their permission first. So you can let them know that you have a solution to their problem and ask them if it's something they'd like to hear about and genuinely listen for their answer. It's important to note that you shouldn't make the offer if you don't feel like you can genuinely help them. If you can't help them, you can offer them resources and point them in the right direction. So you want to get them to buy into your process, but you don't want to overwhelm them. Focus on the framework and how you're going to help them and tie it all back in with what they said they wanted in your notes. And then you can say, does that sound like a good fit for you? And if they say yes, great. If they say not quite, take time to find out what they want. And then you can ask, Other than the investment, is there any reason that you'd say no to this? And they'll typically say no, but if there is, then you can address it then. Once that's complete, you'll ask, where do we go from here? And they almost always ask what the price is, in which case you can let them know what the investment is. And then you'll move to the next step, which is addressing any concerns they may have. From there, you'll enroll your new client should they say yes. So depending on the investment level, the sales conversation can feel more tense when you give them the investment, unless your content that led them to you has done much of the heavy lifting in terms of addressing concerns or misbeliefs. This can take time to get just right, so in the meantime, you'll likely need to move your prospect through their concerns. And this also assumes you're marketing to a viable niche, your offer is what they want, and they have the money to invest in services like yours. As a side note, once you've given them the price, you might be surprised because oftentimes people will go through the same decision-making process for a $500 product versus a $2,000 product, depending on the person. So either way, you'll need to become proficient with helping people move through any money concerns they may have. I want you to get really curious and be neutral when you do this. I want you to stay with them through this process because there could be an underlying fear, belief, or past experience that's keeping them from saying yes. There could be a secondary gain issue. For example, if you're helping someone lose weight and they want to lose 50 pounds, but they know inside of themselves that if they lose that 50 pounds, that it's highly likely that their spouse is going to get really jealous and it's going to disrupt their marriage, they may hesitate to say yes. So this affords you an opportunity to get really curious as to why that concern came forward. And another way to handle a money concern is to offer a payment plan. That can help as well. Payment plans are great. And I'll say that if you do offer a payment plan, make sure that you have a merchant account, for example, PayPal or Square, that lets you set up automatic payments. Don't rely on them to make the payments each month. For example, you send them an invoice each month and you wait for them to pay you. If you do this, oftentimes you'll be chasing them down and then you'll be frustrated. Another way to help people get off the fence is to offer a fast action incentive. This could be a savings or additional services with you. Okay, so those are the steps within the sales call framework. And what I've done is I've created a checklist for you so that as you're going through the sales process, you can check these boxes off. I'm just keeping it really simple for you so that you don't get overwhelmed and so that you can internalize this process and then you can build on it. Remember, you're developing or strengthening your sales skill set and you'll get better at it the more that you practice. And keep in mind that you may hop around a little bit within the sales framework because sometimes your potential clients may hop around. But just make sure you go back to what's not working and go from there. So you just want to be mindful of all of this so that you can be as successful as possible in your sales conversations. Sales is a skills and confidence game. It really is. And try not to say your investment with a question mark at the end of it. Meaning, if you're going to say, my program costs $2,000, don't say it like this. My program costs $2,000? It's a question? Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to pay for it? and then pull your energy back, right? So be confident in your ability to help somebody else because you have the solution to their problem. You really do. And if you don't close as many sales as you want, don't worry about it. Just make sure you're evaluating each call to learn so you can get better and better each time. Here's some things to evaluate if you aren't hearing more yeses on the calls. Is my offer what people actually want and need? Am I attracting the right prospects in my marketing? And do they have the ability to pay for my services or offer? If I am attracting the right prospects, am I attracting them at the right stage for urgently wanting my help? Am I pulling my content topics from my offer and signature system so my prospects will actually want what I have to offer them by the time we get on the sales call? Am I listening intently on the sales call? Am I asking enough probing questions to get to the root beliefs and emotions on the call? Am I clearly communicating the value of my offer to my prospect by tying it in with what they've said they've wanted? Self-evaluation is your best friend here. We can all look back at our sales calls and realize that we could have done something differently, and that's okay. Just keep moving forward and try to be nice to yourself. Would you like to take this to the next level? I've created a special way to help you catapult your sales as fast as possible. It's my Soulful Sales VIP Day, and it'll help you rapidly accelerate your sales skills. So much so that you'll start to get results before your VIP day because you'll maximize your mind's potential and sell from a place of strength and integrity. I've created special hypnosis recordings that will help you feel much more confident about promoting and leading your sales call. And all you have to do is listen to shift and change. During your VIP day, here's what we'll accomplish together. We'll clarify your next level niche, offer, and pricing. And when you price correctly, you only need to make a sale or two to offset or recoup your VIP day investment. We'll dive deep into the sales call process and the subtleties within it. This will amplify your sales and help you hear yes more and more on your sales call. And we'll role-play moving a prospect through their concerns to get to a definitive answer, again to increase hearing yes. And as a bonus, we'll go over a phone call campaign to use after your VIP day. This is pulled from my Cash on Demand program, where you'll receive an overview about how to simply make money in any business, the phone call campaign training, and the plug-and-play copy you need to send to your list. You'll have 30 days of follow-up support from me through Voxer, plus a follow-up session to answer any of your questions. You know, if you raised your prices and improved your sales call close rate, how much more money would you make, and what could that do for your life and your business? Because I can only offer a few Soulful Success VIP days at a time, because of the level of attention that my clients receive, and because there's only so many days on my calendar to fit the VIP days into, I would really love it if I was able to save one of those spots for you. If you're interested in learning more or have any questions, please book in a free, no obligation, no pressure call. Simply go to www.shareyoursoulmessage.com/VIP day. And from there, you can book in a call. All right, that's it for now. My sincere hope is that I have served you well, and I'll be talking with you soon.